Welcome, everybody, to the Sheridan Report on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The Sheridan Report is brought to you by MyBookie.AG. To get up to a 100% bonus on your first deposit up to $300, make sure you go to MyBookie.AG and put in the promo code TGT100, or click on the banner at the top of the GruelingTruth.com for MyBookie.AG, and that will also take you there and give you that bonus. I am your co-host for the Sheridan Report, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I'd like to welcome in from the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing great this morning, Mike, and I'm ready to talk some NBA playoffs and Major League Baseball.
All right, Bobby. So let's do it. You want to start off NBA?
I do, Mike. There's two games going on tonight. You got the game 4 of each series, and we'll start with in order. The Bucks are going down to Boston for game 4, and this will be the third series now in a row where the team leading 2-1 is trying to get that 3-1 lead, and the first two failed. And that's with Denver beating Portland yesterday to go 2-2, and Toronto beating Philadelphia to go 2-2. And both those teams that got beat had won games 2 and 3 and had a lot of momentum in the series, and they were thwarted. And here we go now to the third team trying to go up 3-1, and that's Milwaukee. But I think the Bucks are going to get this one, Mike, and that's tonight in Boston, and they're getting 1.5 points. They got 2 the other night, and that game was sitting kind of in the balance about midway through the third quarter or something like that, and next thing you know, you go out and go use the restroom and come back, and Milwaukee's up 17. And that's how fast it can happen against that team. They had a great game the other night, and the scary part for Boston is, what are you going to do? What adjustments can you make to overcome the deficiencies in this series? And I'm not sure. All I heard Kyrie Irving, all I've read and heard him talk about was just the fouls, and Antetokounmpo drawing every foul and getting to the line, and he's reduced to saying, "Oh well, it's just slowing the game down." I mean, they don't have an answer for that guy, Mike. Pure and simple. I think Milwaukee's going to take that 3-1 lead, unlike what Portland and Philadelphia were not able to do. And I think this series is over. What do you think?
Yeah. I think the series is over. I think they're a better team. And in the end, it's always better to take the better team usually.
Yeah, and 1.5 underdogs, and here we are really, really preaching the fact that they're the better. It's scary a little bit, but I was certain that Philadelphia, not so much Philadelphia, but I was certain Portland would come back and get that win. And Damian Lillard got outplayed by Jamal Murray, and so, but I don't see it happening tonight, Mike. I think Milwaukee wins that game. But with that said, it's not my top play.
What's your top play?
My top play is the next series, and and maybe it makes no sense to go to a series where the outcomes have been so close, 4 and 5 points, but I really like Houston tonight, and I think Houston's got a chance, and I'll just say it right here. They got a chance to win 4 straight in this series. And we talked about this on Survive in Advance. We just had a show, Survive in Advance, and I was on that show this morning. I appreciate you bringing me on. And you brought it up, and we talked about this. There's been 2 days, so basically 3 full days, 2 whole days, and then all of the next day rest between each of these games for Houston and Golden State. I think positioning Golden State in some of the prime slots of the series, but here we are now where the rest of this series is going to play out with 1-1-1-1. 1 day rest, 1 day rest, 1 day rest. And that's going to be a factor that, as we ride along further in this series, is going to work against Golden State, who is playing their starters basically the whole game. That includes Andre Iguodala, who did not do that during the regular season. This is a team, as you brought up, that had to go 6 games to beat the Clippers. That's won 3 of the last 4 championships, playing an extra 20, 25 games each of those years. I think they're being motivated by the fact that it's the last run maybe for this group as it stands. And they look very motivated. Draymond Green in particular is playing very good basketball, and Durant has reestablished himself as the best player. But with all their heroics that they did in Game 3, they lost. That was the game Houston had to win. They had to scratch and claw and dig and get that one. And I think tonight's comes a lot easier. I don't think Golden State's going to be able to produce off a one-day rest the effort and the game that they produced the other night. They're putting it on Curry now to step up, and he had a really poor game. I don't know that he's going to do that. I doubt it. And I think it's all about Durant. Well, he delivered. He had 46 points. And Draymond Green is a benefactor of how they guard Durant. He gets a lot of stuff, and he had a great game. They still got beat. I think Houston's got the answers. I think tonight's going to be a double-digit win. I think we're going to go back to Golden State tied at 2 with another one-day of rest, and Houston's going to get that one, but that's for another show. So the Rockets are my top play tonight. Down to 1 point, Mike. Only favored by 1 point over Golden State.
All right, Bobby, you want to go to the NHL?
Let's go to the NHL, Mike. What do we got going there tonight?
We got the Boston Bruins, Columbus Blue Jackets. We got the Sharks and Avalanche. The Sharks and Bruins can both clinch series with wins on or away tonight. I like Columbus to force a Game 7. And with the Colorado San Jose, I think I like San Jose to end this here. I know I've been on the Avalanche the whole time, but I think the Sharks will take this.
Yeah, they disappointed you a little bit. Yeah, they've disappointed you.
Not really. I mean, they were an underdog, but I just think right now, I think the Sharks are playing a little bit better. I think they're a slightly better team. So I'm going to go with the Blue Jackets and the Sharks tonight, Bobby.
All right. Well, the Blue Jackets at home, you mentioned their home ice advantage. They have a nice home ice, and it makes sense to me that from afar that they would be able to force a Game 7 here. And San Jose has been really tough to beat in the third periods. They've won the third periods, and that would be a nice little parlay there because you got an underdog working, and maybe we could do a Columbus, San Jose, Houston Rocket 3-teamer. That doesn't sound too bad to me.
All right.
That'll be the official Grueling Truth 3-teamer right there. All right, Mike, let's go to the MLB. The MLB, we can get some consistency here. We can really start making some money because we've been hot and cold in the MLB, and yesterday was supposed to be hot, and we did. We hit 2 of our 3 top plays. Well, matter of fact, we hit both of our top plays in the MLB yesterday. The third top play was a loser, was a basketball game last night with Portland. We were trying to hit all 3, and so, it was one of those. It's been one of those things in the MLB where we've been hit and miss. Yesterday we hit, but then again, the Dodgers. We were 1 game away from hitting that 3-teamer also. So we had a great day yesterday in the MLB, and we'll try to back it up again today. But this is what's got to really start taking some consistency and nightly being able to put out some winners. And I'm hoping we're finally there to that point now. And so we've got some games that we like tonight. We have 2 straight wagers on the card left. We got the Phillies plus $1.20 over the Cardinals. And here's the game I'm going to talk about. And that's at 5:05 Pacific. The Phillies plus 120 over the Cardinals. I think that's down to 117 the last I looked. And then we've got, Mike, this is the game I want to talk about. It's the Twins and the Blue Jays. This is the opening of a series in Toronto. And these teams played a few weeks ago. It was a series in Minnesota, so they're coming to Toronto now. And Toronto took 2 of 3 or 3 of 4. I'd have to go back and research that, but I know they won the series, probably 2 of 3. And that set them up to then go to Oakland and sweep the Oakland series. And then, Toronto really catapulted off of that series. Well, the Twins, Mike, I kind of blew my lead into this game. I was going to ask you and ask the fans, who's got the best winning percentage in Major League Baseball right now? Do you think anybody would say the Twins?
I would, just because it was kind of a leading question when you asked me.
Right. But and that's why I said I blew the lead in. But, that would have been a good lead in had I not blown that. But I remember that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't write it down. The Twins have the best record in the major leagues. And they got a left-handed pitcher going tonight named Perez, who's, since he's been inserted into the rotation, is 3-0 with microscopic ERA. Great numbers. Great stuff. He's throwing a cutter now that is getting a lot of reviews. And so he's looking for another win tonight, Mike, and this Twins team is looking to return the favor. And if you remember, I like to either bet against or at least not bet on teams that are opening up a homestand, coming back off of a road trip. That first game on the homestand is always a tough one. It's always dangerous. And you've got Toronto as a favorite in this spot with Stroman, who has struggled. And so you've got the Twins on the road, best team in baseball, with their best pitcher. I think they're going to get this win tonight, and that's plus $1 or something. It's small, plus 110, plus 104, something like that. So that's my top play tonight, Mike. So the Twins and Phillies are my straight plays, and then I've got something I'm labeling a Cy Young three-teamer. And what we've got working tonight is we got 5 former Cy Young pitchers are on the hill tonight, and I'm putting 3 of them together in a parlay that pays 4.5 to 1. And so we got the Mets, DeGrom, Nationals, Scherzer, and Rays, Snell. Nationals and the Rays are at 4 o'clock, 7 Eastern. Hopefully we win those 2, and we got it all going on DeGrom tonight in San Diego. That's my Cy Young 3-team parlay. The other 2 are facing each other. Sabathia is going up against who, Mike? He's facing a Cy Young guy, too.
CC Sabathia?
Yeah, Sabathia is facing who tonight? The Yankees and
Hernandez.
Oh, Hernandez, yeah, Felix, King Felix, yeah. Yeah, so there's 2 Cy Youngs going against each other there. So there's 5 former Cy Young winners throwing tonight. I thought that was kind of unique. So that's our MLB card tonight, Mike. The Cy Young 3-teamer and those 2 straight plays. I like it. And let's have a great night.
All right, Bobby, what do we got for on this day?
On this day, Mike, it's Kentucky Derby weekend, and this past weekend was on our Surviving Advance show. You can hear our thoughts on that if any of the fans want to listen to that haven't already. We talked about the decision and what happened, so we have a lot of on this days these last few days that involve Derby winners, and this one does. But this one we're going to talk about because this is one of the bigger ones. It's 1978 on this day was the 104th Kentucky Derby, 104. 104th. Steve Coffin was the jockey, and he wins aboard Affirmed. And it was his first and only Derby victory, and of course it's the first leg of the Triple Crown. Affirmed, Mike.
All right. I think this is Ali Frazier of horse racing. I think it's the greatest rivalry in horse racing history because a lot of people don't know that over like a year and a half span, these 2 horses met 10 times. And the thing that made it so amazing was out of those 10 meetings, 9 of those meetings, they finished 1-2. And in all 10 of the meetings, one of them won the race. When you look at it, the Kentucky Derby, 1978, Steve Coffin, who I think he was close to it. Wasn't he the youngest rider to win the Kentucky Derby?
I believe he was, Mike. Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah, I think he was. They engaged 3 memorable races. The Kentucky Derby was close, with, of course, Affirmed winning it. And then after that, they engaged in a memorable stretch duel in the Preakness, with Affirmed winning by a neck. And then on race's biggest stage, the Triple Crown on the line in the Belmont Stakes, they offered stakes. I'm having a hard time talking today. They offered what many regarded as the greatest race in sports history, not just horse race, but the greatest race. The thing I remember about that was Affirmed won the ultimate test of stamina, which was the Belmont, which was the longest race in all of them. And I think when this race was ran, I think for like the last 7 or 8 furlongs, these 2 horses were neck and neck the entire time, trading the lead back and forth until Affirmed stuck his head across to win the Triple Crown right after that. I remember watching this race, and it was mesmerizing to watch these 2 horses race because they were neck and neck all the time. And the thing that blows my mind is Affirmed actually won all 3 of those neck-and-neck races. And in the 10 races that they raced against each other, Affirmed won 7, Alidar won 3.
Wow, 7-3. And they hooked up with 7 furlongs to go in that in that
Yeah,
last one.
and they were just neck and neck, pulling away from everybody, and there was just it was amazing. I mean, I don't. It's just like I always talk about how great sports were compared to today. It was true even with horses. Maybe horses are sitting around playing PlayStation all the time too.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, hey, affirmed in Alydar. I don't think there's anybody that's ever followed horse racing at all that hasn't heard of that, and that's how epic and iconic that.
How about this?
Is.
This is a number I just found, and I think it tells you a lot about the two horses. There were 9 times in Affirm's 29 career starts where his margin of victory or defeat was less than a length. He won every one of them. Alydar, meanwhile, was involved in 7 races where he won or lost by less than a length. He lost all 7 of them.
Yeah, and I think horsemen, this is a good point you brought up. I think horsemen are aware, gamblers are aware that that's not just a product there, Mike, of bad luck, where he's running almost the same speed as the horse next to him but losing every time. That's a horse what they call hanging, that he's just as fast, he's just as talented, but he doesn't want to put his nose in front. He wants to just run right beside you. It's kind of like when you're walking your dog and the dog, you want it to keep right beside
my
you.
dogs will pull me down the damn road, so.
Yeah, so it's called hanging. And obviously Alydar was probably the most talented hanger of all time because he wouldn't go in front of horses. And for those that think the horses aren't smart or aren't aware, then there's some horses that win, like you said, that win every time. It's because they want their nose in front. And, Mike, that's a big part of gambling and handicapping and the horses. And and what we saw in the Derby with the lanes, so the disqualification, there's just the trip that you get. The fastest horse doesn't always win. The best horse doesn't always win. And that's why to bet and have even money odds or 6-5 or a 9-horse field, it's you go broke doing that, and the favorites win about 33% of the time. But what long shot's going to win? Is it going to be the 5-2, the 40-1? That's a tough racket. And I'm glad I don't do it anymore, and I just watch the big races, But I wish I could have seen. Well, I was old enough to. I was 9 years old, but I wish I would have been in my prime and been able to watch this.
Well, see, the first Kentucky Derby I remember watching was Seattle Slew in 1977. I think he won the Triple Crown also. If he didn't win the triple, I'm pretty sure he won the triple. But that was my favorite horse. And then when Affirm, raced against Alydar, I bet on Affirm. My dad bet on Alydar. We had like $1 on each one, and I won all 3. So.
Well, Mike, you understood at a young age. There's one horse out of these 2 that likes to put his nose ahead of the other, and you were right.
Hey, and it's important. Like $1 back then would get you like 10 packs of baseball cards.
Yeah, and I know you were a big collector, and I looked it up, Mike. Yeah, Seattle Slew did win the Triple Crown. He was the 10th of 13 horses to accomplish the feat. It was 1977.
Yeah, because you had some great horses back then. I mean, you had Affirmed in 78. You had Spectacular Bid in 79, who I think came up a little short on that. And then Swale, you remember Swale, who ended up, I think he tragically had to be put down before he ever even got a chance to win one. But
I remember the name, yeah. And I just want to tell the fans, if there's any new listeners today, we had a Kentucky Derby show that, okay, the Derby part of it might be preview show, the Derby part of it might be old news, but listen to Vince DeGregory. He was our guest on the show, and he did about 30 minutes straight or 40 minutes of just, wow. I mean, talking about old horses, old trainers, old stories, 86-year-old man that's told a story well. I know you're going to try to get him on, Mike, a couple more times, and that podcast is on thegruelingtruth.com. Listen to it. It's fabulous.
All right, Bobby, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Remember, you go check out the Sheridan Report at Sheridan Report on Twitter, thesheridanreport.com on the internet. $10 a day or $50 for a month will get you to Sheridan Report. Also, Phil Rankin's Handicapper Guide. What was the website again? The Handicapping Guide. Make sure you check him out also, which you for $5 a day, I think you get 4 tracks combined. And as Phil would say, if you can't afford $5 a day for 4 tracks combined, you probably shouldn't be betting on horse racing. So make sure you go check out Phil. Tonight at 11, me and Jeremiah will be back with Inside Boxing Daily. But for now, guys, we're going to wrap it up. You can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find sports podcasts. You'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Bobby Sheridan, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.